This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Happy New Year. 2026 is here. We're live in downtown Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy 3-hour program lined up today, and we have a packed sports book here on the first day of this brand new year. Paul Charchian on the program coming up in 30 minutes. His best bets for player props, week 18. Will Hill on the show today. Best bets out of him. Jonathan Davis on the hockey card. We'll go over a lot of live betting today with the Rose Bowl kicking off here momentarily. And we have another big game tonight, obviously, with the Sugar Bowl, Georgia and Ole Miss. We have a lot of questions before we make bets for week 18 of the NFL. Pauly, how was your New Year's evening last night? Was it quiet?
Good, yes. It was quiet.
Not
Slept
bad.
well. Yeah. Calmed down with the fireworks and disappointed in the finale of Stranger Things. It's all said and done. That's all she wrote. It was a hell of a run. And also, it was incredible to start with what Miami did. Oh, what a nasty defense.
That was awesome.
What a performance. The U is back, baby. And Cristobal, I got to give it to him. We've been rough on that guy, but Cristobal's done a hell of a job. And that turnaround, they couldn't stop anything last year. And they are flat out nasty.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of talent nowadays.
That's true.
Like Texas Tech did for the season, and the defense showed up again today, but the offense was... That game was pretty much unwatchable. They got blown out.
Oh, it was so disappointing.
They were and by the way, again, another game day move. Some of them have worked. A lot of them have not. They went off as a 1.5 point favorite today.
If you are just average offensively, you're going to win that game. They handed Oregon 17 points. Morton had zero pocket awareness. The horrible interception in the end zone. The other fumble after they got a defensive stop. The fumble that led to a touchdown. Oh, he was so bad. 42 points a game and over 480 yards in the regular season. And they get blanked. And that is a tough way to end the season as the defense played so well, but they couldn't do a damn thing offensively. And they were shut out at halftime for the first time since 2021. I
want to expand on that game coming up in a second. Do you have anything for the Rose Bowl? Have you added anything? I did. I took Alabama plus 4.5. That's available. I paid a little bit of juice, 20 cents on it in the first half.
I took 7 and 7.5. I have to point out, teams off a bye are 0-6.
Oh, that's
true.
Real.
That's real. Yeah. So I'm rooting for Indiana. This be a great story. But I'm concerned with the bye and the travel and everything Signetti said. And good news, it appears the weather's not going to be a factor as the rain stopped.
Yeah, and that was, I think, basically in the forecast from a lot of weather people who said going to be pretty wet throughout the entire morning. But then once the game kicks off, and by the way, this is for people like you, Pauly, who mocked how it was so important to have the sunset. Well, they bumped it up an hour. No more great sunset today, late.
Good for them.
And then because of it, we get all this rain today.
Yep.
So
yes,
you have to ruin tradition. Yeah. You got to take a wrecking ball to it.
Good
you
job.
And all the other curmudgeons.
About time they moved it up.
So I'm on plus 4.5 in the first half. Who knows? I mean, if you do go back and look to last year, all of those teams that had a bye, they were all underdogs, and they were, they changed the rules of who got the bye weeks after year one of this new playoff system. So I don't think it was like a surprise that those 4 teams lost last year. You had the first true upset last night. Now, technically, Texas Tech just closed as a favorite, but for a good week, Oregon, they were bumped up to 2.5, and then game day money on Texas Tech, which was the wrong move. So I don't know. Maybe this is something. Maybe it's not. And look, I mean, people are going to overreact to it, I believe. Look no further than what's going to happen with the committee. And they might they're going to expand to 16 and wipe this out anyway. And that way there are going to be no more buys. So it's not going to be a thing for too long once they go to 16 games.
Yeah.
Or 16 teams, I should say.
Looked like Texas Tech hadn't practiced. I mean, that was just embarrassing.
So, okay, I had 4 points of closing line value in that game. I took the 2.5. They went off again as a favorite today. And I tweeted this out late first quarter. The floodgates are about to open. I got off my bet. I played Oregon money line. And part of the reason why is because the Texas Tech defense, they were bending, but they were not breaking. And at one point, again, early second quarter, Oregon had run 25 plays to 8 for Texas Tech. The Red Raiders had 1 yard of offense. And you go and look at halftime, it was 49 plays to 23 but they only gave up 198 yards, 4 yards per play, and Oregon had -5 yards rushing. Now, two things, right? Like you said, that game was there for them, but the offense was so bad. On the flip side, this is why Dan Lanning, to me, is not going to win a national title. Yes. This game should have been over with a lot earlier than what it was, because there was a point in the game where Texas Tech was driving fourth quarter down 16-0. If they scored there, they go for two. If they get it at 16-8, that's a one-possession game. This dude he doesn't want to punt. Right. And he never takes field goals. Right. And read the freaking room. Your defense is dominating this game, and Morton did not come to play. I don't know what the story was with him, but the offense could not get an inch. Game is over with, pal. Pin him deep every time. And that's why, unless he changes, he does this all the time as a head coach. It's going to bite him in the ass down the road.
Yes, it will. Very stubborn. He was lousy with some of it, what he was doing with his decision-making. And he got bailed out. I mean,
he did.
The sack where he gives it away, Morton turned it over. That led to 1st and goal. They got the stop on 4th down. That led to 1st and goal. They punched it in. That's 14 points right there. The interception was huge in the end zone. And then you line up offsides on a punt on 4th and 1.
Sure.
You're
Good job,
get the ball
guys.
back. That also led to 3 points. So just a terrible performance. And also, I don't know how about the Wildcat play on 4th and 1? That never had a chance.
No, they're play calling throughout the entire day. How about throwing it short of the sticks all the time?
Yep. Damn.
So I don't want to.
This is a team that allowed 500 yards to James Madison. And Morton throws for 130 yards. That's a tough way to end the season after a great story and how they performed in front of a national audience.
I think it's going to be easy to point to who Texas Tech played this year as a result of this. But I just have to come back and say, well, unless Oregon's offense is wildly overrated and Dante Moore being projected as possibly the number one pick in the draft could be a huge mistake, that defense is the real deal. That defense is good enough to win a national championship. It's just that the offense was horrible. But also, if I said that about the Texas Tech defense, what do we say about Oregon's defense? Because you have to give them credit as well. They had a bunch of playmakers today. They caused those turnovers, and they were really good.
Well, maybe James Madison was a fluke because they had good performances in some of these other games. But as we've talked about many times, they have played 4 top 15 defenses, and they've been shut down in all those games. And I think it's lazy to criticize the Tech schedule because they embarrassed Utah and embarrassed BYU twice.
And I think those teams are pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they didn't come to play. They were outcoached, and the quarterback was horrendous. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
Not a good combo there.
I mean, Morton was just atrocious in that game and didn't give them a chance. So, still, it could have been. It's still 6-0 in the third quarter, but the turnovers did them in, and it was a misleading score with the touchdown with 16 seconds left, and how that transpired in a tough way. And now we'll see the Ducks get the winner. I didn't see a blowout. I didn't see a shutout coming. And that prop team to allow the fewest points, the Ducks were 7-1.
Well, I know this. I mean, it was an in-play dream for betting the under in that game.
Ooh.
And for those who made the case that, 51.5 was maybe a touch too high, others first quarter under, first half under, you never had to sweat any of that stuff. That was all rocking chair winners. They were all rocking chair winners. Do we, in this game coming up now, they're running on the field right now in Pasadena, do we think Alabama's going to be able to run the football?
No way. No.
I don't think so either.
They can't.
So that's going to be a big issue here with us having them in pocket.
Mm-hmm. Does Mendoza take care of the ball? That's one thing. Mm-hmm. It looked like Bama was going to get run out against Oklahoma. But then again, I think there's a lot to this with the buys and all this off time and not coming ready to play. And we'll see if DeBoer can do something and Simpson can do something through the air against Indiana. But
he has been, by the way, really good as a dog throughout his career.
Yeah.
DeBoer.
But I think this Indiana defense deserves more credit as well and how well they played, which maybe you take away from the Ohio State performance now, considering how they gagged it last night. But this is great, though, that weather's not going to be a factor. So Kevin Roth had that correct, that the rain was going to stop and everything's going to be okay. And the field after the squeegee, guys out there with the squeegee and everything, no one's allowed on the field pregame. There it is. Look at this setup coming in. Where's George Toma, right? Make sure the field's okay and everything. That's the last thing you want, where the field's a mess or the game's decided by weather.
I'll tell you what, for these two games that we have coming up, the Rose and the Sugar, I haven't heard too many people make the case for Alabama, and that ties into the game as well a little bit later on. But the market is going the other way a little bit in the Sugar Bowl. I haven't heard really anybody make the case for Ole Miss. And if you go back and look, Again, that first game was awesome, and Georgia could not get them off the field. They eventually won 45-35. Georgia was awesome against Bama in the SEC title game. They pounded Texas 35-10. But I'll point out a couple of common opponents down the stretch. Mississippi State was a really good team at home this year. However, they had two bad performances. They were against these two teams. They gave up 538 yards to, no, check that. I have that flipped with Florida. But Mississippi and Georgia were both awesome against Mississippi State, and they won by about the same margin. Ole Miss beat Florida 34-24. They needed 14 points in the fourth quarter, but they outgained them 538-326. Georgia beat Florida 24-20, scored the go-ahead touchdown with 4:45 left. They had 361 yards in that game against Florida. Ole Miss had 538. However, this is Charlie Weiss Jr. calling plays against Kirby Smart. And I think that's going to be the biggest rub that we could possibly see in this matchup.
They had no answer for Stockton either. Stockton was awesome in that first game. 4 touchdowns, 43 points, outscored him 17 rip in the fourth quarter. So I know as Brad Powers is concerned is what Georgia offense shows up, and it better not be the one that showed up against Georgia Tech.
Oh, no, they're going to lose the game if that happens.
Yes. But I think I like Georgia -6 tonight against Ole Miss.
Yeah, that I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Well, it's hard.
Obviously, that's the game.
It's hard
on.
about how much Kiffin matters, you know? I mean, you still have the whole staff there, but that's, and also how, if they can get stops defensively. But it's hard when you're going without your coach, and you knew they were going to blast Tulane anyways.
Yeah, 5.5s were showing a little bit earlier. NFL news, line movement, and biggest questions we have before making bets in Week 18. One of the hottest players in the league is now out as we continue here on New Year's Day. Follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Alabama won the toss. They deferred. Indiana did absolutely nothing. They lost 5 yards on the opening drive. Here they are punting now to 4th and 15 at their own 20. And by the way, the Heisman Trophy winner was sacked not once but twice in the first 3 plays of the game. And that blitz on the third down play was awesome, and Indiana had absolutely no answer to block. And now Bama's going to take over with excellent field position. It looks like better than their own 40-yard line here. 2 minutes gone in the first quarter.
All right, down to 4.5 in play, 46.5 the total. And
I still got 6.5.
Yeah.
You got 4.5 DK?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Where are you?
FanDuel.
Okay, thank you. Indiana, $1.95 on the money line.
All right, we'll see how this looks for DeBoer's offense and Ty Simpson coming out. There's not going to be a commercial break here, so they're going to take the field here with, again, good field position. SEC against the Big Ten. And Bama, again, closing as 7.5-point dogs in this game. And we'll see what Simpson's going to do in the shotgun here on first down. Boy, the cheerleaders for Alabama wearing essentially nothing today with the weather like supposed to be cold and rainy. And Simpson here. Now some pressure from Indiana as well, and that's not going to happen.
But what do you think if Indiana wins? Or are you so impressed with Oregon? And you throwing out the James Madison performance? But you remember, Indiana, unbelievable in Autzen.
Yeah, they
in
killed
that
them.
game. Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't. So I will be very intrigued by the number. I know that the projected number had Indiana favored, if that's going to be the matchup. Now, things change obviously throughout the year, but Oregon took money in that game against Indiana. They closed higher than a touchdown. They were killed in the game. Mm-hmm. Indiana was clearly the better side and won it outright. I would be intrigued to see if that's enough points to maybe hop on with the Ducks. And here's a second down pass that's going to be complete, but short of the sticks.
Well, I totally agree with you, too, with Lanning. Just so stubborn.
Yep.
Silly. And, Pat Forty was all over him again today about this guy. It's like me and vegetables. I mean, this guy cannot stand field goals. But the bigger point is understand the situation and punt.
Yep.
right? I mean, they can't get a first down
No,
against you.
can't move the ball.
And he's just so stubborn with how he plays. Aggressive. It's like time, score, situation, game flow, all of it.
Yeah,
Morton was a mess.
Yeah, you're not in a shootout here, pal.
That's exactly right. It's 6-0. It's not 30-27.
No, and that's going to be a first down for Alabama as they get past midfield now and pick it up on third down. Biggest questions now for the NFL this week. Olave's out.
Oh, another blow to Tampa Bay. Oh, man. Carolina's up to 450 in some spots to win the division now.
Yeah.
Huge blow as Olave's down. Also hurt Shuck's chances. Olave's been so good. So maybe a look at Juwan Johnson and Kevin Austin, perhaps. Because someone's got to go off
They're
here.
going to have to get somebody involved, right?
Because Olave's been a target monster and a yardage monster going back. So but not only now, so Tampa's got to win, and they have to get a Saints win as well to win the division. And now they're down their key guy.
I'll ask you a question about this with Shuck's Rookie of the Year chances a little bit later on in the show. Because what if he's good without Olave?
That's big.
And what if they win the game?
Oh, it's huge.
Right?
Yes.
And how much does Atlanta care about this game? I think the Saints do care about this game, the way they've been playing.
I think Atlanta cares.
Yeah.
I think, you close with a winning streak, go 8-9. Moore's trying to keep his job, sure.
All right, so J.J. McCarthy, is he starting or not for Minnesota? KOC said he's progressing this week.
KOC wants him to play.
Yeah, he was limited in practice. They want to see one more game out of the kid. I mean, to me, it's all Minnesota if it's McCarthy.
Yes.
And the number will probably go up. But if it's Brosmer, oh, man, that changes things entirely for me.
That is risky business, I know.
Yeah.
Now, what's Clayton Tune going to do with a skeleton team around him? I can't imagine much. But this Minnesota defense has been incredible. You don't allow passing touchdowns. I mean, are the Packers going to score 14 points? But it goes back to what we watched on Christmas. The guy had 50 yards passing. They're life and death to win the game, and they're +6 in a turnover differential.
Yep.
So it's risky to lay that number, and it's also risky. I imagine one or two people will be on him in Survivor. Imagine that for $18.7 million if you're backing Max. But I'm with you. It would be, I think, the Vikings by margin if it's McCarthy.
Yeah, I will be involved heavily in that game if that's going to be the story. How about if he's not? And you've been betting this prop for a long, long time. How about the yes to a defensive or special teams touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
If it's Tune versus Brosmer.
See that? I also would like Minnesota longest made field goal in the game. Reichard's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's good.
He'll put him out there from 56, too. Like, no problem, no sweat.
And they're sitting here as 8-point favorites right now at Circa. On 2nd and 10, there's a completed pass, but behind the line of scrimmage. Great job by the Indiana defense. And now Alabama's looking at a third down and long, and they're not even in field goal range right now.
No score first 5.5 minutes, Cassius. No score first 5 minutes, Cassius.
Trending towards a first quarter under as well. See if Alabama can convert this long third down. At what point in Tampa was down to 2.5. Now at some spots back to 3. I was going to ask you, at what point does Tampa become bettable?
I can't. I don't want him.
If it turned into a pick'em, would you take him?
No, I still wouldn't take him.
I think I'd bet him at pick'em because the game is still Saturday and they're going to play before the Falcons take on the Panthers.
Well, yes, I know that. They're not eliminated. I know. You pick it?
No.
Incomplete. So it's. I just think that there's just such a mess right now, and Baker clearly playing with an injury, and it was like Nick Whalen said, it's bizarre that they were playing so well, they were 6-2, and now they get healthy and they're a mess offensively. Plus, how many times can Bowles call you out? As the defense blew the game against Atlanta, and Bryce wasn't spectacular or do anything special in the first win, but again, this is where Carolina's at their best, where they're number 1, 7-0 ATS off a loss, and they won all these games as an underdog. So I don't expect much out of Carolina's offense.
No, neither do I.
But they're not going to probably have to do much. And maybe Baker helps them out with a couple turnovers.
I hope there's a bunch of money on Carolina to drive this number down because at some point, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go down to the ship.
Really? 0-8 ATS, I understand. And we thought they would bounce back and beat Miami, but it just hasn't happened. I'm just sick and tired of losing every single week on this team. It's just, and again, it's a disgrace for the NFL that 8-9 can win a division and host a playoff game. But, that's just, I can't get there with Tampa. They've been so bad.
How about this? Sam Darnold or the 49ers defense is much like the pharmacist doctor scene with Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, which one is it? Like, which one do you trust the least? Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
In a big game or this horrible 49ers defense?
I will trust Sam Saturday night.
George Kittle plans to play.
Yep. I will trust Sam. Now, I know all the second most turnovers in the league, and we saw this movie last year. I know. He's going to get them at some point. He will cost them a game. I just don't think it's Saturday night because the Niners are so bad defensively. And I think this is a huge game for JSN, and I hope they can get the rushing game going as well. And I also think Seattle wins the game because their defense is too good. And they can maybe – I do love both teams to make a 33-yard field goal in this game as well. And Myers has been spectacular for Seattle, and Piñeiro's the nuts as well. Yep. But I think Seattle wins, gets the 1 seed, and I think Darnold can have a good – I completely throw out week 1. Throw it out.
Oh, it's so long ago, too.
And the Niners were healthy. I just think you can't overcome these injuries, and you saw what Williams did. It's one thing to give up points, but guys are wide open. And the Bears win that game if he had more time to throw, and he hits the guy who's running wide open. So I think Sam's going to cook Saturday night.
I will go back to the last time Seattle played an elite offense. It was 2 weeks ago against the Rams. They got absolutely scorched in the game. And nobody's playing better offense right now than Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And they are averaging like 35-plus points a game since he came back. They're on fire right now offensively. Now, how about this angle? The Jets are taking money, and the Bills are down to 6.5. How about the angle where the Bills are playing in the final game in Highland Stadium?
Yep.
And players are talking about it, what it means overall. A bunch of the guys have been asked about it this week, and they're like, yeah, it's a big deal, man. This kind of sucks to see it go. Unless they somehow would host a playoff game, which is very unlikely. They would have to probably play the 7 seed.
Maybe they're good facing the Patriots. Beat them once and say, okay, so be it. We go on the road. We're familiar with this team. I don't care. Even if it's the backups, they're going to beat the Jets. I don't agree with this. Now, weather could be a problem. They're asking the fans to come out. We got good video. They get 10 inches of snow in a span of 2 hours. Mm-hmm. It was so bad. But I still think they beat the Jets, and this Jet offense is so lousy. I mean, you've been outscored. Point differential is a record in December, and you've lost 4 in a row by 23-plus points. I just don't care who's out there for Buffalo, and it's going to be a veteran with Trubisky, and maybe he sits Allen for a half or even the game. But I can't imagine the Jets winning this game no matter who's out there for Buffalo. They're that bad.
And why do the Jets want to win the game, by the way, and screw up any possible draft position? Mm-hmm. That makes no sense. I know that's an easy talking point for us to bring up, but I like the Bills. I think they're going to thump them again. I think based on this being week 18 and typical shenanigans and, guys are not going to be playing, I think we have to bet some of these games to have no touchdown scored. And I would also be intrigued about like round robin alternate unders in some of these games.
Really?
Yeah, just like get out of there with they don't want to get hurt end the season and hope for a 17-10 kind of finish.
Good luck to you. Some of these could be blowouts and get ugly. That's what I think with these big point spreads and these. Who's going to blow the New York teaser? I don't see a big upset coming up.
No, I think that's definitely a way to approach it, right? Moneyline parlays, perhaps. Paul Charchian on the program coming up next. The Fantasy Football Hall of Famer has joined us every week to break down his favorite props throughout the entire season. He's got a bunch of them that he likes based on teams that need games, others that don't. Find out his best bets for the weekend next year on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll connect with Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian and his favorite props for Week 18 coming up in a minute. Meanwhile, Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, Indiana's on the move. They were pinned deep after an Alabama punt inside their own territory, and now they are driving, and they have the ball at around the 41-yard line, I believe, now looking at a 2nd and 5 against Alabama. So we'll keep you updated here with the game, obviously, as it goes on. Under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter, and I stand corrected at the 36-yard line. This is now a 2nd and 5. I think we missed a play there. We go out to the Progressive Guest Line. Good friend of the show, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian on the program. Happy New Year, buddy. How are you?
Happy New Year. I will be fantastic if we get Tyler Shuck in for Rookie of the Year, baby. That will make a fantastic start to 2026.
Okay, so but what does this mean now? With no Chris Olave, poor guy, blood clots, no joke, obviously. We're a gambling network, though. What does it mean overall? I think if Shuck is good and wins without him or puts up numbers without him, it's his.
It's the exact scenario. 2 weeks ago, when Shuck was sitting at somewhere between 14-1 and 25-1, we laid out the scenario how Tyler Shuck wins this, and it was win the last 3 games was critical to that. He's won 2. He's done it with hodgepodge of receivers, but Chris Olave has been there and he's had some blow up games. Olave's not going to play in this one. Your starting Saints receivers are going to be Kevin Austin.
Yep.
And if he can play, Mason Tipton. And if he can't play, Dante Pettis, the same guy who fumbled in the end zone last game and almost gave that Saints game away. So it's not going to be an easy victory, but I would love to see Tyler Shuck find a way to win the final 5 games of the year and win Rookie of the Year. I think right now the money line favorite to me is baffling. It's Ted McMillan. I don't even understand the thinking on that. Honestly, this thing it's Shucks to lose if he can manage a win here.
All right. Good luck. Let's bring it home. Let's look at your angle here, Week 18. I love the Caleb Williams angle. He needs 270 yards. This is incredible. To be the first Bear quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in a season, but we don't have to go that high. He just needs 240 here against a Detroit defense that hasn't been able to stop anything, and Williams was great last week.
Yes, you can find us. You can find the Caleb Williams passing line as low as 235.5. So what I want to do for all of our props today, let's target highly motivated teams against teams that have little to or nothing to play for. We begin with the Bears. They can move between the number 2 and number 3 seed. Ben Johnson says they're playing to win. Lions can swing 8 draft positions with a win or a loss.
Oh.
But there's no way Dan Campbell, he can't tank. I don't think he's got it in him to tank for the draft picks. So it should be a good game between starters within the division. But let's talk about Detroit's secondary. Total disaster. Both starting safeties on IR. Both backup safeties are hurt. Thomas Harper has a concussion. Didn't practice on Wednesday. Avonte Maddox, who's not even a safety, but has been playing safety out of desperation, has got a back injury. Now, the Lions can usually mask a lot of their secondary problems with a good pass rush. But here's the thing. The Bears have the number 1 pass block win rate out of the entire NFL. So if the Lions can't get consistent pressure on Caleb Williams, they'll be able to expose this Detroit secondary with 4th and 5th and 6th stringers. And I'll give you a little stats to back this up. Again, we're looking at Caleb Williams over 23.5 yards, not counting Max Brosmer. I'm just going to throw out opposing quarterbacks roasting the Lions. The previous 5 quarterbacks to face Detroit have averaged 322 passing yards against Detroit. That gives us a cushion of 87 yards over today's line. So Caleb Williams topped this line 3 straight games. He's playing the best ball of his career. Might get Roma Dunze back, which would be great. Should have mostly healthy receiver set. So yeah, I like the Caleb Williams over 23.5 passing yards.
235.5.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay.
235.5
by the way,
yards.
I have to ladder to 270 plus.
Have to.
Right?
Have to.
Because
well,
he
plus 160.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's not, if he's right there, they're going to get it for him.
Yeah, sure they are.
Absolutely.
Right? You also like CJ Stroud to go nuts here? Well, not go nuts. His number's like 218.5 against this really bad Colts outfit as well.
Yes, I do. And another situation with a team with a lot to play for versus a team with nothing to play for. Houston can move between the number 3 seed and the number 7 seed. Huge swing, highly motivated team. Meanwhile, for Indy, it's a dispiriting end to a season that started with incredible promise. They've lost 6 straight games. They don't have the same draft order incentive to necessarily tank here because they traded their first rounder for Sauce Gardner. Colts have allowed opposing quarterbacks to top CJ Stroud's number, 218.5 passing yards, in 5 straight games. And one of those 5 is CJ Stroud, who threw for 276 yards. And again, his number's 218.5. So that gives us a buffer, doing the math here, like 59 yards from his last performance. Since week 4, Indy's allowing an average of 283 passing yards. That gives us 65 spare yards over Stroud's line. Sauce Gardner re-injured himself last week. He DNP'd yesterday. I don't think he's going to play in a meaningless game here. And even if Sauce does play, Indy's secondary has 5 guys on IR. This is one of the few games in which Houston's entire receiver group is healthy. Nico Collins and Jalen Higgins and Christian Kirk, Noel Schultz, everybody's healthy. I like the over for CJ Stroud, 218.5 passing yards.
I love this too. Patriots need to win to get the 2 seed. Maybe Denver vomits on themselves. You never know. And you want to get May the MVP. Yeah. How many touchdown passes is May going to throw Sunday?
Yeah, I like this. So, okay, now I always feel like you have to apologize for recommending anything that's minus 200. You know, the Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns, it's minus 200. Just how about if we just take our 50% gain on our money? I mean, you know, we throw our money at the S&P 500. We got to wait 5 years for a 50% gain. Or you can just bet Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns on Sunday. The motivation here is significant. New England can swing from the 1 seed to the 3 seed. All the other meaningful games are going to be played simultaneously with New England's game in the afternoon. Miami, after starting 1-6, Dolphins have a winning record. They've managed to turn it around in okay fashion. Mike McDaniel's job might be safe after all. And Miami can swing from the 8th pick to the 12th pick. But let's talk about Drake May. This is an MVP opportunity for him, which really came together last week. 5 touchdown game. Matthew Stafford had that dud last week with the 3 interceptions and an unexpected loss to the Falcons. And so May can salt away the MVP if he has a similarly big game here. So the real question, I think part of the question is, does Mike Vrabel care about the MVP? I think he might and he should. Vrabel's never coached an MVP player ever. He had Derrick Henry on a 2,000-yard season in 2020. Henry did not win MVP. Aaron Rodgers crushed the field that year. So here's May, comes in hot. He's got MVP opportunities, and Buffalo. Let's just talk about this opportunity here. Buffalo held him to 0 passing touchdowns, although he did run in 2 scores against Buffalo. But outside of the Bills, May has thrown 2 or more touchdowns in 11 of 13 games since the opener. He gets Kayshon Boutte back, probably. Stephon Diggs has got some weirdness with him right now, but expected to play. Yeah. And Miami's secondary, 6 cornerbacks on IR, 2 safeties on IR. Micah Fitzpatrick may miss his 3rd straight game. And here are the opposing quarterbacks against Miami who haven't thrown at least 2 touchdowns. 3rd stringer Brady Cook, backup Marcus Mariota, backup Kirk Cousins, backup Dylan Gabriel, and backup Justin Fields. Everybody else since the opener has thrown at least 2 touchdowns against Miami. Drake May will do it as well.
Okay, very strong. In about 90 seconds here, Paul Charchian, our guest, attack it again with Jacksonville, huge favorites. Against a team that has basically nothing to play for other than pride with Tennessee. Who do you like in this game for the Jags?
Jags can range from the AFC's number 1 seed to the AFC's 5 seed, so highly motivated here. Tennessee getting slaughtered by opposing tight ends. We're going Brenton Strange over 34.5 yards. Kick in the plus 200 anytime touchdown. 7 of the last 8 starting tight ends have gone over 45 yards. We only need 35.5 for Brenton Strange. Last week, Juwan Johnson, 95 yards. 2 weeks before that, Kittle, 88 yards. Before that, Harold Fannin, 114 yards. And Brenton Strange, 45 yards 5 weeks ago against this same team. Over the last 5 games, Tennessee is allowing the 4th most yards to tight ends, 73 per game. We need half of that for Brenton Strange, who gets virtually every tight end target for Jacksonville. Since he came back from injury in week 12, the next closest tight end is giving 0.7 targets per game. All the rest of the targets go to Brenton Strange, and the Colts have allowed 4 tight end touchdowns in the last 5 games. Brenton Strange.
Love it.
You're the man.
Were you sipping on some whiskey last night to bring in the new year?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was. Thank you for asking. That was a little Old Forester 1920.
Good for you.
Tasty, delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorite moderately priced. You know, it's like 55-ish bucks a bottle. Old Forester 1920. It's the best of the sort of the standard shelf Old Foresters. I love it.
Would you play McCarthy Sunday? JJ McCarthy?
No,
you would not. Okay.
Love you, pal. Happy New Year.
Thanks, friends. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
There you go. Follow him on X at Paul Charchian. And Pauly's going to recap a lot of the betting action from last night and today. Win some, lose some. Next.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one? Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Job committee, it's all about the U. Miami. A great moment with Cristobal and Jimmy Johnson after the game. Irvin going crazy on the sideline, plus 280 on the money line. Fletcher, who's also a beast, first touchdown, 7-1, first team to score. Miami plus 160, defensive or special teams touchdown, plus 240. Davison for Oregon, first touchdown, 7-1. And unless there's another shutout, fewest points allowed prop, Oregon was 7-1. Nuggets plus 220, surprised the Raptors. And the Wizards 4-1 on the money line. Took out the Bucks on the road.
Nice job by Denver.
Oh, boy. Yes, absolutely. That was a good win. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. At Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. This is Brian Dawkins coming in. Oh, puts him down. Nice tackle. Good form. Kid goes open for the pass. He's open. He got some room. And then the dog comes in, makes a tackle.
Clean tackle.
Yeah, knocks the ball away as well. What a heady play by the dog. Just doesn't turn his head around either and knows how to find it and just, okay, I know, I'm reading his eyes, and then knock him down and takes the ball away. Great job by Dawkins. Incredible. Lose some, Texas Tech. Guns down. First time since 2021, shut out in the first half. Averaged 42 a game. Blanked in the Orange Bowl. Plus 2.5 to minus 1.5. DOA. Bad for the books. Duke 1.5 up to 4. Fell 3. Michigan, Texas over. 46.5 up to 50. And one bad beat, I retweeted it. The Spurs are up 5 against the Knicks. There's 8 seconds left. The Knicks shoot a corner 3. They miss. Fox gets the rebound, and he dribbles with his back to the basket and thinks he's just going to get fouled or dribble the clock out. With 2 seconds left, Brunson steals the ball and shoots a fadeaway 3, and it goes in.
Okay, a couple things that also put Brunson's prop over on the game, but I'm gonna push back on bad beat. The Knicks led the entire game, including by 10 in the fourth quarter. I don't think the Spurs deserve to cover that game. I get it. I know how it unfolded. That's ridiculous. But the Knicks were the better team 95% of the game.
Watch the video. It's hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I cannot believe it ended that way. I don't know what Fox is doing. That was bizarre. Before the line moves, sharp plays already there. They don't just follow the market. They help shape it. Jeff and the crew been at it since 2011 with Follow the Money since day one. Documented results, public logs, transparent receipts. Great follow on X. Powered by advanced AI. Great sources, active across all sports. They deliver the edge serious bettors rely on. Free reports, alerts, and market-moving insights straight to your inbox or X feed. Sharpplays.com. Liverpool draw was plus 340. I didn't think of this angle, that maybe, guys are hungover or whatever. There were 4 Premier League matches today. As we stand right now, 3 of them might be 0-0.
Well, but how many times in the history of the New Year's Day games has that happened?
How many times have they played on New Year's?
Well, you're right. And then they've had a 0-0 score, or they all go under. That would have been something Meatman or Seeley would have, I think, brought that up over the years.
Yeah. Liverpool leads 0-0. Sunderland, Man City, 0-0, 87th minute. Likewise, Brentford and Tottenham, 90th minute. Could have 3 0-0s here today.
And at the Rose Bowl right now, Indiana leads Alabama 3-0, 12:44 to go in the second quarter. Alabama is facing a 4th and 1. I don't know if they're going to replay this because it was a third down and long.
What'd you think? Did he get it?
Ty Simpson slid. He took off. And man, it's close. It's super close. And by the way, the Indiana defenders, both guys are lucky they didn't get called for helmet to helmet, which I think would have been kind of a weak call, but they got close to that. And we'll see what's going to happen after the timeout. I think they have to replay this, and it depends on when they're going to say he was actually down, sliding, giving himself up compared to where the ball was at.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I'm on the air. I'm reading. I can see it. Breaking news: Lamar Jackson says he's going to play. Here, how about the shenanigans at the end of the first quarter?
Okay, yeah.
So this is big. It's 3rd and 9, and they're in the red zone, and all of a sudden Mendoza can't hear.
He's going, I can't. I got nothing.
Like the headset went out, and in no communication, and they ran a draw 3rd and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Kid makes the field goal to start the second quarter, but that was I'm like, what is that play call? 3rd and 9 in the red zone. Signetti's aggressive. They just ran it. Got nothing. But then there was the miscommunication. I can't hear. And
Bama got a huge break there.
But this is big here about the spot and the review of what's going to happen because Indiana's either getting the ball back or Bama keeps on the march.
Okay, so first half right now, Indiana's now laying 5.5. I have Bama plus 4.5. I hope they overturn this. Obviously, they can keep the drive alive. The first half total, again, it's 3-0, early second quarter, and the total is 13.5. Under is minus 160. I'm looking at FanDuel. Over is plus 120. Are we going to get
Another in-play dream?
a couple of touchdowns here to go over the first half total?
35.5 seems high too right now. Oh, this is
Scoreless quarter cashes?
Yep. Scoreless quarter gets there.
Because
That's right.
what happened there at the end?
Yep.
They were trying to get him out there by the way to kick it, and there was some shenanigans going on as well. They didn't kick it there with 2 seconds left. So, but Bama, both drives, by the way, I shouldn't say both, but the last one from Indiana took up a lot of time and only resulted in 3 points. And there's been like a lot of nothingness to happen so far in this game, despite Bama actually put together something that looked decent on that first drive, but then they got pushed back a little bit and had to punt. They were nearing field goal range, taken out, and 12:44 to go now in the second quarter.
So what do you expect out of Chambliss tonight? Because you think Smart will get the best out of Weiss.
Well, I think don't you have to expect that?
Perhaps, I don't know.
Smart's amazing.
Or maybe, yeah, but certainly this is a good coaching staff, and they've done a great job all season. It goes back to the question about how much does Kiffin mean? And, well, they did mark him short.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Are they going to go for it here? They're going to try to get him offsides. Never mind. They're short by a half a yard.
If they jump, I'm going to lose it.
Don't pull a Texas Tech here. Go for it. Come on.
All
no,
right.
They're going to punt.
Bama's going to punt.
Okay. You know who I would have called if I'm Ole Miss?
Sure.
I would have called Chris Peterson.
Okay.
Not about coaching, about prepping for this game. I want to go back to the Boise State-Oklahoma game. It's maybe the best coaching job I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I would have that conversation with Chris Peterson and say, hey, do you mind hopping on a phone call, Zoom, whatever, for an hour?
What angle? Creativity?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Unbelievable
do we stick with who we've been the entire year, or what should we work on to throw Georgia for a loop? What would you do? How would you approach it? And how would you come up with plays to actually get them completely off kilter?
Well, I think they feel strong about themselves, and the fact that they match up well against them, it might be the better team. I mean, again, they had them down 9 in the fourth quarter on the road, and then suddenly couldn't move the ball. But they got whatever they wanted for 3 quarters. Well, certainly that was David against Goliath in that Oklahoma game. But
now Bama is going for it, by the way, and they did out of the Wildcat. They did a sweep.
What are you doing?
And it's short. It's going to be short. Indiana read it.
What are you doing? Where's Mitch Moss? Read the room.
Yep.
What are you doing?
What kind of a play call was that?
Come on, DeBoer.
That was absolutely
like the Texas Tech crap. 4th and run, they run the Wildcat. No chance.
Look at this.
My God.
Oh, boy.
You run Wildcat at your own 35 in a 3-0 game.
A Wildcat kind of like jet sweep. And you didn't have the blocking. You didn't have the execution. It was never there to work. And my plus 4.5 now in the first half is absolutely dead. Now because Indiana's in field goal range already.
They moved to 10.5 in play and 37.5 the total now.
Well, that's because you're going to get points here, you would think, right? That's after they try to get him off with the fake punt idea.
Yeah, took a timeout.
Timeout, and that's what you come up with.
What a fiasco.
I would go to the end zone right now if I'm Indiana. Come on, you got the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and he is under duress. Oh, my God. Got out of 2 different sacks the way it looks. Takes off and picks up 6 yards, and there's a flag.
Is it a face mask or a hold? Did he grab face mask? Oh, hold. All right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what Derek Stevens says when these people early on take dogs in Survivor. It's like, okay, you got there, but what did you really accomplish? It's like, what? Even if you get the first down, it's okay. Okay, you're still at your own 35-yard line.
Sure.
The risk reward there doesn't come on.
Get him back at your own 20-yard line. This is my problem with, and I've said this for how many years now? I don't mind it when you go for it on 4th and short, but it's the play calling and the idiocy like that.
That's if you're ever going to run a tush push there.
Sure.
You just want to go sneak. You got cute and you got caught.
We've been screaming it from a mountaintop on this show for almost a decade now. Shotgun on 4th and short. Knock it off. And he's got a big gap. huge run by Indiana, and he got all of that back on 1st and 20. He may have picked up the first down. I think he did. Will Hill on the program. Next, we'll get some best bets here on New Year's Day. Coming up on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.